So when I saw huge names, big economists, big channels like Reventure Consulting all over YouTube saying, Florida's in trouble, I never bought into it. I really, behind the scenes, thought that a lot of this concern over all these high risk mortgages in the Florida marketplace was all overinflated hype. But this week alone, I saw case after case. I have to tell a home seller, hey, look, what you thought you could get and what you're gonna get is 400 grand difference. Massive reckoning that I'm seeing happening in this section of the market. Hey everybody, Jared Jones, I'm back. I had an update that I had to shoot in the face of now record high interest rates, which if we remember just a short time ago, end of 2022, when rates went to 7.3 and they stayed between 7.3 and 7% for a person with excellent credit getting a 30-year fixed mortgage, we saw it absolutely in 3 to 4 months tank prices in the 8 to 10% range order of things. And now we went even beyond that. Now on the day, as I'm recording this, rates got a little bit of a reprieve, but they've been much higher than they were even at the highest peaks when we saw the market cool last fall. And it really affected pricing in a fast way. And it's very easy for people to forget. But one of the things I got to share with you now is the fact that I am seeing an absolute shift in real time in a segment of the marketplace, which has been long heralded as one of the high risk places for you to own real estate in the Florida market statewide. And if you are an owner in this entire state, or if you know someone who is, pay close attention. And I'm also going to tell you what you should do about it. But folks, if you've been a follower of this channel for some time, I took a 2-month reprieve to rebuild a lot of the things that I'm doing in terms of my businesses here in Florida, but I'm back, really planning on staying consistent week to week. So if you're new to the channel and you want updates on what exactly is happening in the pulse in Florida, this is the channel. I'd ask you to consider subscribing, but at all else, leave a comment below about what we're talking about today. I want to hear your thoughts. The problem, there's marketplaces all over Florida as interest rates are now peaking that buyers have absolutely panicked, run from, sellers that are not getting a clue very fast. They're losing equity by thousands, in some cases 100,000 plus in some of these markets. As buyers recede from the market, inventory piles up, and the sellers that do successfully sell have done so by rapidly reducing the price. And I have multiple cases this week alone where sellers' hearts were immediately broken based on a pure, simple change of time from last year this time till now, seeing a 16, 17% drop in the price of expectation for their home over what they thought they were going to get. And some of these markets are in real time right now completely frozen. Sellers are not moving on price. Buyers aren't buying them at all. You have entire categories of communities that aren't trading whatsoever. Now, you might be living near these communities and you have no idea what I'm talking about, but let me dive into the backstory here. Last year, early in the year, with little fanfare, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the largest government-sponsored entities that back really majority of all mortgages in the United States, they provide the liquidity, the movement for us to get mortgages. They came in and said, hey, you know what? If you're getting a second home mortgage or an investment loan, we are jacking the rate up on all of those loans effective spring into summer of 2022. As a result, the marketplace absolutely became decimated. Redfin chronicled this in April when they came out and said, hey, you know what? Demand is way off. It's like multi-year low. It's down 50% or more in many of the markets. It's a number unseen since pre-pandemic. You saw demand absolutely hit the floor. Now you got to understand this. People that really thought this wasn't going to affect the inventory of their vacation homes, their second homes, all these kinds of things, because people have been ringing this bell. You have folks like Nick over at Reventure Consulting. He's been putting out heat maps that show Florida lit up like a Christmas tree saying, look how many high risk mortgages are in Florida. He puts second homes and investment loans, FHA, which is first time home buyer type products, in the same bucket. And then when you look at Florida, there's a ton of them. Now, many of this, myself included, I really felt, you know what? Tourism is strong. People are going to be here all the time. It doesn't matter. But here's the problem, folks. I did deep research here in Orlando, a hub of these types of properties. We have a lot of them. We have zip codes almost entirely made up of these types of sales. And as we saw interest rates go towards 7.5% for base rate, excellent credit, I'm going to live in the house type buyer. That's not this person. The people buying in these vacation home markets, they're buying second home financing investment type loans. Those loans are way higher than 7.5%. Those loans might be 8.5%, 9% if you're lucky, maybe on the order of 10 or 11% depending on your profile. Now, you think about that and you look at these properties. I had an owner come to me this week and say, hey man, I want to sell my house. I was trying last year and I didn't sell it. Last year, these homes were selling at $275,000. This year, we had recordings recently at $235,000 and $230,000, which is about 17% lower than last year in the same exact vacation home community where you have like model, like model. It's not like, it's like you can't compare the property. You have the exact identical home that sold last year, exact same square footage as one unit. The other one goes for the same. Now take this to the luxury level and you're going to see, I think, orders of magnitude change in terms of equities diminishing. Listen to this. In another case, I had an owner who has a massive house. There's entire communities here in Central Florida made up of homes that are 5,000, 6,000 square feet that are made with 11, 12 bedrooms. There's a lot of these homes and they're in the 7-figure to multi-7-figure range. And you say, well, who needs a 12-bedroom house? Well, the reality is they're made for corporate retreats, multi-family get-togethers, kind of makes vacation to Central Florida kind of fun that way. A gentleman in that market called me up and said, hey, I want to sell my property. Now, in this man's case, this particular build of property, it's obviously blended with smaller homes and maybe even townhouses or condos along the same community line. It's a luxury category amongst other types of homes. So this doesn't make up the entire subdivision. But in this subdivision, historically, 5, 10, 12, 13 of these would sell every year. Well, if you go back 1 year, only one house has sold in about 9 months' time. You go back before that, it was several months in between. These homes, by the way, started in 2018 around $580,000, selling triple that from 2018 to 2023. Makes sense, right? You can count on home values to go up 300% every 5 or 6 years. But here we are. Pandemic moves them from 700 to $1 million to $1.5 million. Multiple sellers at $1.5 million. This homeowner and 12, 13 others that listed in the past year all bunched up around 1.5. Guess what happens when 5 months go by? Nobody sells. One person finally exits the market. You know what he sold for? 1.15. So value changes by like 400 grand in a matter of several months between people just waiting it out. By the way, the other 13 houses that were on the market, like 6 or 7 of the owners waited around for months and months and months. They don't change their price and they just quit. You look at a snapshot of that market now, there's 5 homeowners bunched up at like 1.5 and nobody's getting out. You look at a lot of these neighborhoods, folks, you're seeing this happen. Before I jumped on this call, I pulled up Champions Gate. If you've ever been to Orlando and you've stayed around Disney, you probably know about Champions Gate. Champions Gate is inundated with short-term rental market homeowners. I pull up the Champions Gate market. I expect to see massive price cuts, right? Because that would corroborate my story. Nobody can get out and everybody's price. No, it's like 20%, 1 out of 5 in the homeowners in that area are price reducing. So why aren't they dropping the price? You go and look at day on market time and it's shooting through the roof. It's like 150, 200% higher than prior year. So think about that. It's like cooking a frog. If the frog's used to everything selling really fast and all of a sudden it all slows down slowly over time to the fact where it takes twice as long to sell a house now, but they don't notice, they don't really reduce the price and they just kind of wait around for something to happen. Now, at the same time in that same subdivision, what is typically 150 sales a month in that zip code has gone down in half. So you have the typical amount of inventory for sale at 350 to 400 homes. And if you're selling 150 homes out of that 350 to 400 every month, that inventory is disappearing. It's gone in 2 months if you just sell everything there because it's going and selling as soon as it hits the market in 2 months' time. But when you cut down to having 60 homes sell in a single month and you have almost 400 homes for sale, you're quickly where the exit for all these home sellers has now shrunk. You have a lot of people, nearly 400, trying to get out of an exit where only 60 buyers are taking these people down. Now, the other thing you need to know about is a lot of these vacation homes, people assume that this is a massive cash buyer market, and that's not true. These marketplaces I'm telling you about where these home sellers I was talking to, they're all selling conventional. Conventional home sales is a huge percentage of recent transaction history, at least where I'm seeing in my market. Cash has pulled back. Now, the other thing is, even in history in these marketplaces, it's not uncommon to see 2/3, 70% even, of all the buyers in these marketplaces based on financing, loans, loan leverage. I got all these loans. I bought my home at X price as it went to the peak and I mortgaged it. There are markets, even in the Orlando marketplace, okay, that have some short-term rentals and it's not tipping the zip code over. You have to look at your situation. If you own a second home property that's short-term particularly, okay? So I don't need all investors blowing up my comments like, my home is doing great and I have a family that's lived there for 3 years. Great, that's probably fine. Certain zip codes, and I'm gonna point out over the next few weeks, there's a lot of change going on in Florida. There's a lot of you can buy areas, like areas that you can get a deal in Florida. And many of you are watching this going, that ship is completely sailed and this gentleman is smoking some good stuff. No, I'm telling you, there's some shifting, even in the hottest markets like Tampa, Miami, Orlando. It's shifting. I'm going to point out those things on this channel as we go week to week updates. What you need to be careful of if you or a friend or a loved one has a property that is in a short-term rental area, means it's all leased out, a huge percentage of it has those capacities. Think about it, folks. We got theme parks, we got beaches, we got a lot of this in our state. You need to watch and pay attention when absorption slows down and inventory stays where it was or it's higher, and you start to see your sell-off drop drastically. You know, you stop seeing comparable property, or set yourself up with a local realtor to send you a automatic email of every property that sells in your community so you can keep a pulse on it. It's not so you can panic sell. You don't ever do anything like this in any frame of an investment, okay? And this isn't investment advice. This is me helping you watch what you have, and then you are gonna make your own plans. People that plan to sell anyways. If you're planning to sell, you're planning before you watch my video. And if that's the case, you can determine if time is acid against your property. That's right. There's a lot of home sellers in a lot of these particular categories where time is acid eating away at your equity. You don't know about it. You're not reacting to it. You and a bunch more sellers are starting to pile on. Nobody's reducing. And here's what's going to happen. The next person that does reduce gets out. And then you come to realize, holy cow, that's what my property has diminished to in value. You don't even realize it. It can be dropping moment by moment. This case where months of span of time went by, the next buyer finally picked one of these luxury properties off at a distance of 400 grand between the last one and the next one. And it wasn't a fixer. It wasn't a rehabber. That home had a pool. This home had a pool. They were in the same neighborhood. They were like a street apart. All I'm saying is pay attention. We got a lot more news to follow because there is going to be an interesting fall season. Jerome Powell's in Jackson Hole. I should have brought this up sooner, but he's talking about interest rates. He's saying pain is still coming, folks. He's saying rates are going higher. And rates are already way up there. The market spending wise, consumers are still spending, even though a bag of groceries is $100. And he's going, I'm trying to stop the economy and it keeps going up. So he's going to keep putting the heat on. And I'm telling you folks, we already know what kind of financial pressure interest rates at 7.5% for a perfect credit, what that does in the Florida market. I will revisit it in the future, but you're going to see some changes, folks. You're going to see some changes in markets in the fall. I'm going to keep you posted on where the real action is striking. If you're a seller, you'll know. You'll be able to react. If you're a buyer, you'll know. You'll be able to react. If you are thinking of selling your house and you need consultation, reach out to me in the link below. There's a calendar link. Jump on my calendar. Be happy to consult you no matter where you are. I'm here to help. If you're not a subscriber, consider joining the real estate movement on this channel. And thanks for watching. Please drop a comment below. Even if you want to tell me you love me, you hate me, I'm crazy, I want to hear it all. Biggest way you can thank me, drop a note. We'll see you real soon.